Hello everybody, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, and today we are going to slow stitch. So we're going to make a basket out of a pair of jeans. I kind of like a craft bucket, a sort of soft craft bucket or a craft tote. And I've got ideas about how it's going to go, but I've not actually done it. So I'm thinking on the fly and you're along with me. For starters, what I've done is I've folded up the jeans roughly. I grabbed them out of the charity shop bag this afternoon, and so they're not going to go to the charity shop, they're going to become my new craft tote. And I'm going to cut them, what's that, 2.5 centimetres, so is that like an inch? I don't really know inches, it's funny, in Britain we're sort of 1 foot in imperial and metric measurements. So I do think in terms of pounds and ounces, but I measure in terms of millimetres and metres. It's really bizarre. Although I measure longer distances in miles rather than kilometres, like I said, it is weird in the UK. You're doing half of one and half of the other, but I guess that's alright. Okay. So this is going to be my rough sort of shape of my basket. Now I don't know if I want the pockets on the outside or the pockets on the inside, because I want to line it. I guess I could still line it cheerfully and have, I kind of wanted to sort of, I don't know, almost like cantha stitch or borrow, just sort of whip stitch the lining on. I don't know. I've just made a pair of shorts because the crotch didn't cut. But that's alright. That's alright. Okay. Let's just cut that there. And make it all even all around. I don't think it's going to be very... It's not going to be true around the top because of how jeans are, because there's always like a bit of the front is always lower than the back. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure if you make clothes you'll understand what I mean, but it's sort of, I'm just going to straighten it somewhat, not completely, somewhat, and it won't really matter overall. If you can see, that's the height difference actually. But it really won't matter. It won't matter. And I can keep fiddling around with it and keep cutting it up. In fact, let's put a pin in. Let's just put a pin there. Putting a pin on the waistband. And all we're going to do today, because this is a kind of a long-term project. I don't think this is. It's a slow stitch, so some slow stitches don't take very long, they're not very slow, and other things take a while, but I think it's an experiment I've wanted to do for a while. And I saw a video of a lady, an Australian lady, I think it's Kate's Nest, something, slow stitch lady, and I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do, but I've always wanted to do it with a pair of trousers. So I watched, she just keeps her projects in these, she calls them nests, and they're like fabric bags or baskets. So I'm not going to do it the way she does it. I don't even know if she does do it in the video because I only watched that one, but it kind of inspired me to do this. Okay, see, it's like a dog's back leg. It's not really straight at all, but we will straighten that as we go. This reminds me, in my 20s, and in fact, no, actually in my 40s I did it as well, where you make a skirt out of a pair of jeans. When I get a bigger table, because I think I am going to get a bigger setup, we might do stuff like that, because I quite like, it reminds me of, I'm always on a nostalgia kick, but it does remind me of my youth. Right, Do we want it like a circle? How do we want it? Because I want it to sort of stay open. And you see, what got thinking about this was thinking about when I used to slow stitch, like 20 years ago. 25 years ago. There you go, because I'm that old. Just graduated from university, didn't have a lot of money, and I'd relocated, and so I kind of got a load of new clothes, but I didn't throw the old clothes out. I made stuff with it. And I remember one of the things I made was like a footstool out of a top of a pair of jeans, and it's like half of that. That's what I want to do. But then I want to patch it and make it all colourful on the outside, and perhaps even I could line it. I've probably got some like old duvet cover or something I could line it with. I don't even actually need to line it, I guess. Okay, so I need to decide what kind of shape. Have I got anything I could use as a template? I don't think I do. We could cereal packet. Oh, not with those scissors though. Put those scissors back. We will make. So in my little crafty nest here, I was going to be, because the vintage button's a name again that I've had since around that time. I kind of came up with it. I was in my 20s when I came up with it. But we had a little, we all used to sew and do stuff together in this house I shared after I graduated. It was a house share in a commuter town just outside of London. And we sort of, I think it was Girly 46 we decided it was, because we would redo our clothes and like go out, so you get like a t-shirt and modify the t-shirt and then sling that on with a pair of jeans, and then you'd go out to like a pub where there'd be like a cover band on or something. It was nice times. I worked hard. I was a youth worker at the time, so you had to be sort of trendy. Now, you know, sort of have it, you know, just be trendy. Yeah, that's such an old word. Old word. I can't word. I'm going to round the corners off. Am I rounding the corners off, or am I just going to cut it organically? Make my template. In fact, what I might even do is sew this in the bottom, so this will give its first bit of structure. So yeah, I remember making a footstool or a poofy. It wasn't very big. It was a couple of years after I moved into this house, because when I first moved, it was a hierarchy. When I first moved into this house, we had, I think it was 4 or 5 bedrooms, I can't remember. I think it was 4. Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4 bedrooms. And I had the tiniest room, basically. So when people moved out, you sort of graduated to a bigger room, but the entry point was this very, very small room. It was like literally the size of the bed. And then a sort of 2 feet gap down the side. It was ridiculously small. But the rent was small, and that's what I needed. And yeah, it was a good place to be, and we all were creative. But eventually I graduated to the big room, and I still didn't want to spend a lot of money. So what I did to make this big room more me was I remember there was curtains that had been washed. They were Habitat curtains, and whoever'd washed them, one of the previous people, I think they'd put them on a setting that was too hot, or they'd done them in 2 different batches, and one was too hot and one wasn't, so they were all uneven. So I just got a duvet cover that I had and cut panels so that because I couldn't sit in this room with these uneven curtains. I did all kinds of stuff like that. It was quite a creative time, really. Right, I want one leg for the handles, so I'm going to put that leg up there, and this is for the base. And then I think as we stitch into it, it's going to give it structure. Right. Do I want a bit of that? I do like that. Let's put it on that. Do I want it to be bigger? I could have it be bigger. Just gonna dull my pins. Okay. Some of these pins are already dull. So yeah, so I've been slow stitching for a long time. In fact, I have a patchwork quilt that's made from that time. I remember I kind of moved down in the September, and the following summer holidays there wasn't really a lot because of the nature of the job that I did. They didn't really do a lot in the summer holidays. So basically I had a lot of time off that they sort of said you could have this time off. And so I went on holiday, I went back up to my family, and then there was still like a couple of weeks where there wasn't really a lot to do. And I made a patchwork quilt. I just sort of got up, cut a load of clothes out that I was going to throw out. And it's not very well constructed, and it's been mended and mended over the years. It needs more mending because I didn't really know what I was doing. But there's bits of it I really like, so that's why I've kind of kept hold of it. And because it's like, it's kind of symbolic of I guess, the slow stitchiness. Right, let's just cut a big bit of this. So yeah, that's where the idea for this bucket came from. It's half of the footstool. And then looking at that Australian lady, I thought, I could do that. That's what's been bindling around my head. Okay. Put a big stitch allowance on it, or seam allowance. I think I want all the stitching to be messy. So yeah, I think I will have the jeans on the outside. Because if I like it, I'll do another one. And what I do is sometimes, like my little journal thing, I will take that downstairs, and when I've got 5 minutes, I'll just stitch a little bit in the journal, or whatever slow stitching I've got. So it could be nice that I've got something just to tote it around. And I have loads of things I could probably do that, but I would much rather make something. The making of something in itself is a satisfying thing. In fact, I remember, I think I've said this before about, like, I've always been creative even as a child. And I used to like making dolls' house things, but not actually play with the dolls. The important bit was the creating. That's alright, that works. Because I want the frayed edges. So, okay. Let's take them out. Now I'm gonna. Oh no, I could use that, but I don't know how strong that is. That's like a polyester. I don't know if I'll even get to sewing in this video, to be honest. So I might go and dig some of my polyester thread out. Okay. Let's just stick them two together. All right. Just going to pin it up, and then once we've pinned this bit up, it might take a few times like playing around with the pins until I get the right vibe, and I want a big seam allowance that can all go frayed. Let's do the next side, opposite. So, how have you been? How's your weekend been? I've had a homey weekend. We've not gone anywhere. Oh, Miles went out somewhere, but I've kind of stayed in. I haven't done half the housework jobs that I wanted to do, but that's all right. I've got some washing done on this food for dinner tonight. But I've been working on a design team project for the junk journaling, because I have a personal project I want to get under the way, and I realised I need to kind of have things done in March for this project if I want things to be finished by Christmas. So basically I'm going to make 4 junk journals for my mum to then have the job of, over the rest of the year, to pop photographs in. They've got to have pockets and stuff, and tell some stories, and I'm going to get my siblings to ask us some questions. Like I kind of know how her and my dad met, but I don't know where they went for the first date. Stuff like that, you know, like just interesting bits and pieces. Yeah. So I wanna do that, and that's quite a big undertaking. That 4 journals. They're gonna be book journals, like not altered books. I'm gonna take the books apart and re-put them together, because I don't need as many pages for an altered book. I just need like 2 signatures with 20 pages in it each. It doesn't have to be that big. It just has to have pockets and things. So yeah, so I want to focus on that and give it the time and not feel rushed. Well, it's still a book a week, isn't it? It's like a book a weekend, but I want it to be done. I don't know when Mother's Day is in the UK. I kind of want it done round Mother's Day, before Easter certainly, and then she can look at the photographs, get the photo. She has hundreds and hundreds of photographs, and put them all in. And there might be some doubles, like one with more. I'm one of 4 children, so we might need to do some scanning of some photographs. But instead of just a box of 100 photographs, there still will be the box with hundreds of photographs in. I thought it would be nice if there was just some pertinent ones, and that we all had them. Like, I am on a real nostalgia kick. I'm making a bag post junk journal, and that's like just my sort of, I will do a video on it, but it's been just sort of my own sanity saving project. And then I've got these sort of family bits and pieces, as well as design team projects, which are nice to do. I did it's like a nautical version, like a nautical junk journal, a kit that I chose for this month, because I did like a floral one last month. So I thought, well, I'll do. And then there's because there's another, because she's quite a new artist, so it's another, I think there's like another couple of florally ones, and then there's like an escape room themed one, which will be interesting. So I will try to do like an interesting shaped journal for that. Gets the creative juices flowing. It's not, especially when it's not something you would automatically lean into. But yeah. So I did that this weekend. I finished the junk journal. I'll give you a little peek. I will do a flip through video for her, but that's the one that I've been making, and I finished it off this weekend. I think I started it last weekend, but I've done the majority of it. I've done some evenings on it as well. It's quite a lot of work doing a design team project, like taking that on, because it's on top of what you normally would do, and I'm never short of ideas, so it's like taking on extra work in that sense. But hopefully it'll be mutually beneficial for like this channel and for Sandra, the lady who is the digital artist. So, but there we go. Okay. There's not going to be any rhyme or reason to this. It's going to be very organic. But we are nearly there, and it should hopefully have a little bit more structure. And then we'll put the straps on. We'll see what material we've got left. Might even be able to pin a bit of a lining in, all in the denim to give it structure. So, what kind of stuff do you slow stitch? Do you do practical things as well as just like, you know, some people only work in like a journal, or they'll make samplers and stuff like that? Or do you make more 3D things? Because I don't have a brain for it, but I do tend to end up doing more 3D type things. What do you do? What resources do you use? Because I want to craft sustainably, and there's several reasons for that. There's the environmental impact on like what I consider to be my fun, and the impact on other people's lives. But there's also like, you know, questions of frugality. I don't want to be spending money, because I have done in the past. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of pounds on crafting supplies that I didn't use for 20 years. Because like I graduated when I was, because I went to university. I had a year off, then I went to university and I dropped out, and then I had another year off, and then I went back to university. So I graduated when I was 25, or I was about to turn 25. So yeah, that's I was older, which I don't think was a bad thing. In hindsight, I don't think it was a bad thing. Kind of wish I did a different subject, would earn me more money, but there we go. You live with your decisions. So what we're doing, Lindsay, besides living with our decisions, we're going to make a strap. I just want a handle, like on a basket. I know on some baskets you get 2 handles, but I don't feel the need for 2 handles. I just feel the need for like one sort of big strap. Right, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this. Got all kinds of bits and pieces off to the side. I still have to do a big tidy of my craft room. I was going to get into that this evening, but where do I want this strap to go? Because if I go like that, then it's or do I go like that? I think I'm going to go like that, and then it can become a shoulder bag if it needs to. You know, like if I go to a crafty place and I just need something. What am I doing with them? I need these scissors. Yeah, so Miles went on, oh, there's another pair of scissors there. Miles went on his walk yesterday, and on his way back he called into, there's like a large charity shop. It's like a 10-minute walk away from where we live, and it's not a very good table for cutting material. It's the world's smallest table. He called me whilst he was at this charity shop because he'd seen, like, it looks, when you first look at it, it's a corner unit, and it looks like it's a proper Georgian one when you first look at it, rather than a reproduction or a later one. The styling of it is very Georgian, and it's on a bigger scale than a normal, because we've had corner units before and sold them on when we moved here because it just didn't fit in the house. So yeah, he bought this corner unit thing for £5, and then he found another base that was separate from it. So it's very Frankenstein-y for another £5. I was like, well, where are we going to put that? And he's like, we'll put it in the bedroom. And there is actually room in the bedroom, and we can always use the storage. And it's quite a big cupboard. So it's a big cupboard it's like a triangle, so it goes like that. And like I said, it looks very Georgian, very Regency, and it's old, and the way it's been put together, on the first glance it looks like it's like that, but then when we were moving it around, we noticed there's quite a few modern bits and pieces in it too. And what we actually think it is, because it's also not very well made, it doesn't sound good this, but actually it looks really nice. It looks quite nice and cute, and the house approves. And so it it's made up of like several bits. It feels like it's been some sort of panelling in a house that's been taken apart. So the panelling is what's old, and what I would say is like Regency, because it's got like the Regency dental work, you know, like the sort of cut-out work. I think I might turn it into storage for craft. He doesn't know that yet, but that's what I'm thinking. It needs to become sort of a curiosity. It's a glass fronted cabinet. There really should be in a parlour or a sitting room or a dining room, but our house is quite small, and we have enough furniture in those rooms that it would make it. So it's not a typical bedroom piece of furniture, but actually it kind of sits quite nicely in that bedroom. We've got quite high ceilings in this house, even though it's quite small. It's an old house, and yeah, it just kind of fits. Right, this is my strap. Is it my strap, or do I want to just tack it onto that? Because I quite like that. We could do that, couldn't we? Let's just pin it. Oh yeah, I could do like colourful whip stitches. It's just going to be crazy. I'm just going to like really play with it. Yeah, I quite like that. We could sew it down, or I could do like a whip stitch and use that. So yeah, so I've got this cabinet now, and it's displaced a load of stuff in the bedroom. So I don't know if tonight we watch our murder mystery upstairs on our laptop and just do, sort of tidy it up together. I think that might be what will happen. But some men buy women flowers. My husband will find bits of furniture. In fact, my house is furnished with things that he's found either in a charity shop or at the side of the road. So yeah, bless him. I think anybody else would not approve, but I'm alright with that. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. Probably thinking, why is she doing it this way? And it's just, I purely just like the look of that. That's why I'm doing it this way. It is very windy outside. I don't know if you can hear it. It's so flat around here. It's flat, and it's classed as an arid zone, believe it or not, because I know everybody thinks it just rains in England all the time. But the very eastern part of England isn't like that at all. So it's been trying to rain, having said that, but it just doesn't stay around long enough because of the wind. See, where I grew up, we didn't quite have wind like this, and the hills, we had lots of rain because the hills would trap the rain, but you didn't have lots of wind. So it's a bit different. Right, so it's not completely even, but I don't care. That's the strap. And we said we were going to put it on the sides, didn't we? I think one side that I quite like, we might put that on the outside. I was thinking, oh, I should use like some of my poly cotton like thread because it's all strength, because that vintage thread. But I actually think that vintage thread might be alright. And I want to use the colours. I'll do a mixture, I think. Yeah, I'll go and find some black poly cotton to just put it together, and then that's not very straight, is it? Do I want that? I think we want that on the inside. Yeah, that's okay too. And I might be taking this apart again to sew all the pieces, or I might not. I might just sit just with some black thread and just get it all put together, and then we can play and put different bits and pieces on it. What do we think? Have we got enough material to line it? I think we might have. Let's turn it back. I wanted that. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I am very sort of loosey-goosey about things. I'm not we're just pinning it up, Lindsay. We're not making firm commitments to anything. Shoo, that wind. Okay. I have to go and find some more pins. I don't know how exciting this is for you, if you're in, you know, or if you're just interested in, because this is very much a process, thinking things through. And if you've never done anything like this, I would just encourage you, if you've got, like, you know, if you've got little children, you could make a smaller one. Oh, that's making me want to go to a charity shop now. I don't have little children anymore, or a little child. But, you know, like with a sort of toddler's sized pair of jeans. Oh, this would be very cute. Very, very cute. What I'm hoping is that having a bit more denim in it will give it some more structure. I'm sure once it's all sewn together, and then once I start putting bits and pieces on the outside of it as well. So I'm not going to pin the bottom because I won't be able to sew the bottom on until I know what I'm doing with the rest of it. Because I might take it all apart again and re-pin it, but with this going through as well, which is probably what I will do. That's got a pin sticking out, don't want that. That wind is terrible. I might make a fire later. I don't know. We've got a very simple jacket potato bits and pieces dinner. I've not done a roast today. I was going to make a meatloaf, but I forgot to get the mince out the freezer. So I might do that tonight, and then we can have that tomorrow. Oh, now I only need a little bit. I need to cut that straight. Wouldn't that be good if we could use like nearly all of the jeans up, so it'd be like the one pair of jeans for a bucket bag or a craft tote, what do we call it? Because we could put some pockets on the inside, certainly, couldn't we? I want to use that if we use some pockets, so let's cut that down that way. I'm hoping it comes across what I'm trying to make. She might be thinking, what is she doing? Oh, I've lost you already and you've stopped watching. Oh, no. What was we doing? Are we doing that? Could do that, couldn't we? Somebody microwaving something downstairs. I can't believe I've managed to do this on this tiny table. But I'm determined, I think, to get rid of this bed. And because I've read things about like there being children like bed poverty, not having a bed, and it's 2025. So yeah, I think this bed needs to go, because it's like hardly ever been slept on. It would be perfect for a little kid, really. It's a trundle bed. It normally would have gone under my daughter's bed for like sleepovers, but her bedroom's a lot smaller than her bedroom in the previous house. But you know, that is what it is. I'm just going to pin that and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. Like, because this is not really going to have any weight on it, so I could use like my coloured thread to just sort of whip. That would look nice. Yeah. Okay. I can tell you what, I can hear the birds singing. At least we've got to go cut that hedge down in the back garden, or else we'll end up with song thrushes in it again. And the cat just spends all spring looking up, and we have to sort of defend the chicks, which we do manage to do, but yeah, I'd rather not have to. Okay, so there's going to be some trimmage need to do. Do that then. Just it is very haphazard, but that's kind of what I want it to be like. It's not, this is not precise seamstressing. There's a pocket that can go on the inside. It still reaches down far enough. Let's trim this bit as well. Oh, I like this. This is going to be alright. It's going to work. She says, have I cut that off too much? No, I don't think I have. Have I? No, I don't think I have. I will step it down a bit more. I'm not going to do the unpinning bit. I'm just going to whip stitch it. Okay, that's enough. So that's all I've got left. But it'll do. Just turn it back the right way. To make sure those pockets are sewn in properly. Oh, it stands up. That's cool. So it stands up. It'll be lined in denim. And then imagine like just sort of patches and flowers and lace and all kinds of things. Just, it's almost what I want it to become is that when I've constructed it and I've started to decorate it, that if I've got a little bit, say I have from making that journal, you're like, oh, she said knocking, I've got like a little bit, and this is silk, but like if I made something, a little cluster with a button, that I would just stick it on, and that's how it would get decorated with leftover bits and pieces. Yeah. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew, or my next stage is to sew around the outside here, and just sew the big, like the straps on, and just sort of sewing it, doing it one piece at a time. But I think I'm going to start with the bottom, which I will do off camera. But what I will do is I'll do a back stitch, so because I don't have my, we'll start it with one of these 4 plies and then I can show you. Everybody knows a back stitch surely, but if you're completely new you might not, so let's do it. And I can always go back over it with some of the black. It's got this nice bright blue thread that's got a knot in it. Where have you got a knot in it? Because you've just been sat on that strawberry pin cushion when you should have been putting a needle book. But there we go. Ho hum. Tension's pitiful. Let's do another knot so the tension's right. You have to get your tension right for a slow stitch as well as a machine stitch. Otherwise you'll end up with a mess. See, that's all that tension. Okay. Got a knot that I'm not really, I need my thimble. We will make a thimble. I think what's nice about this is I'm going to end up like with a complete kit of stuff that I would have made. And if I make my own thimble, because this is one that I bought and I love it, actually it is my preferred one, I have made others, but I love it because it's really long, it kind of goes past the joint, and you can see here how I've like used it to save my fingers, particularly when you're sewing through loads and loads of denim. But you can do it. So let's hide the knot in the folds. I'm going to start on a bit with loads and loads of folds. given myself a really chunky seam allowance. I am not stressing about things showing up or not showing up, because normally this is a stitch that you wouldn't want necessarily to be seen, but I'm not worried about that because it's all going to get covered in crazy colours and stitching anyway. So back stitch is you go forward like this, and then you go back like that. Go forward again, and then you go back. And this is the strongest stitch you can do that's not a machine stitch. So it's the strongest hand sewing stitch. And it's one of the first stitches that I was taught by my mum, who is a machinist. That's like basically she can slow stitch, she can hand stitch. Slow stitch is an expression, not an actual technique. But yeah, so she does like hand stitch. And she's 77 and still has a sewing machine in a little sheltered accommodation flat. She had a bit of a trouble with her heart before Christmas, so I don't know if she's actually got her sewing machine back out again. But yeah, so we are going back, going forward, coming out, pulling it together, going back in, and it looks like a running stitch from one side, and then I'll show you what the underside is in a minute. And you can do sort of a running slow stitch. I'm not doing it on this because it's going to carry weight, whereas you sort of do a back stitch and then you do a couple of running stitches and then you do another back stitch, which is not as strong, so that's why I said I'm not going to do that on this. So I don't use very many stitches, I don't get fancy, very basic. And you can make entire garments just with a back stitch and a whip stitch, I guess. Is it Bernadette Banner? She's like hand stitched. When I first started watching her, she was hand stitching everything, and now she has a treadle sewing machine, and that's the sewing machine that we used to have when I was small. In our house in Larch Avenue. In fact, that reminds me, that's something I need to put in my Bagpuss junk journal, that memory, because I'm putting core childhood memories in. It's almost exactly the same sewing machine. It's certainly the same mechanism, and it's a Singer, but it's like a treadle. And it's because like where the sewing machine used to be, and I'm sure it's because she got it for free as well, it didn't have any electricity on this landing, but it had loads of natural light. And it was probably one of the lightest parts of the house, because it had this big double window in front, like over the stairwell, so you couldn't quite reach this double window unless you sort of leant over the side of the landing. And there was this nook that would either be a perfect desk, you put a desk there, but she put a sewing machine there, and that became like her sewing area. So I have this core memory of the treadle sewing machine. So now we're coming to the end. I'll just back stitch over ourselves a few times. Make it really strong. I will start my next stitching further back though. This is not going to have too much weight in it, but still want to be safe rather than sorry. scissors. So there we go. So that's the underside of it, which is going to actually be on the outside, but I really don't mind. I might just go through lots of different colours and do it like that. There's pleats, and there's no mind to where the pleats are, so they're all going to be in different places. But again, I don't mind that. There's not really... This is my first one. I can think it through if I want to do another one. But that back stitch would be strong enough that this would be a very strong seam, and you can already tell I can feel it's really strong. It's not going to rip apart easy, so you would be able to carry some weight in this bag. That's the first bit of stitching, and I might alternate, so it might be more like a running stitch, looking, you know, the front of it on that side. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play with the colours, just pick random colours out of the I must have at least 50 colours. I probably have more, because I've got 2 sewing cabinets over the period of 10 years that has a myriad of these bobbins, and some various different tension and strength, but I do like a test, and the ones that are these ones were in a closed cabinet and had not even been used because I had to start them off myself, so you know, they've really kept the strength. But I will do some just using my black polyester thread. Okay, and then I can put, because what I was thinking is I could actually put this caddy in here and like my journal that we worked on last week, and I will keep working on. Like that can go in there, and you know, needle book, those types of things can go in there, and then I can sort of sling it over my shoulder, carry it up and downstairs rather than a cardboard box that I'm using currently. So yeah, that's it basically. So I hope you've enjoyed the bucket bag. I do not know how I'm going to, I might have to sort of fill it, thinking how am I going to do the thumbnail. I think I will sort of fill it so it becomes obvious what it is, and that it's just a part 1, because there will be more parts to this. We will work on this again next week, see how far we get. Yeah, it might just be something that I use. Alright then everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Slow Stitch Sunday, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.